Let's start with this new market week, including these debt ceiling talks and a bunch of retail earnings. Jim, you've been, I would say, worried about the X date, and I wonder if any of these reports about so-called progress resonate with you.
I need to hear it from the Republicans, particularly from Speaker McCarthy, because Speaker McCarthy's on thin ice if he makes a deal here. The sitting president who has a recession or inflation has, if it's first term, has historically lost. So I don't understand why Speaker McCarthy would want to come to this deal unless Biden's surrendering. If Biden's surrendering, I get that. David, if Biden's surrendering, this market's going to be up a lot more. This market is not showing me a surrender by Biden. And I'm making that point surrender because, remember, whoever can claim that they caused your Social Security check to not go and doesn't have any gravitas, well, the other guy wins. So if Speaker McCarthy says, you know what, you didn't get your Social Security check because of Biden, well, that's who people will believe. They tend to believe that the president has not delivered, not Congress. So that makes it so Biden would be surrendering. And I don't know if he's going to.
Remains unclear. I think
this,
all of us wish we had.
All night.
I know. Wish we had some level of ability to really understand exactly what's going on, but It's hard to know.
Well, I mean, I was looking at Mike Wilson, who, look, Mike is, I think, he's a force, and he's saying he's talking to a lot of people.
Yep.
And he said, meanwhile, there are several clients who are incrementally more worried about a recession this year and other potential risks to growth in markets. Such risks include the debt ceiling. Most of it will believe it will get resolved, but not without some near-term volatility. Well, we haven't had the near-term volatility. That, I think, would be the next few days. Of course, the president's going away. So if we have near-term volatility, then I think people are going to say, we don't have a deal, we'll never get a deal, and the next thing you know, we're going to get scrip if we own 30-day paper.
So you said you are working on a playbook, a default playbook.
Yes.
Can you share what that might look like?
Absolutely. We have a very definitive group of stocks that did quite well in 2011. And these were ones that had been going well, then dropped like everything else during the period involving September to October, and then radically recovered. And they almost all look like Biogen or like Sarepta does this morning. Literally nothing to do with the economy, because people just believed very strongly that the sequestration followed by the debt downgrade would mean that we were having a recession. We did not have a recession, but these stocks performed extraordinarily well. So I'm putting that list together for this evening just because I think people don't understand the depth of almost cosmic proportions of how people felt that the sequestration and the debt downgrade would bring. A lot of people were very concerned that there would be no currency, that there would be, that if you had 6-month paper, you might not get paid. So, David, I mean, that was a level of concern. We tend to forget how bad it was. And the sequestration, by the way, was very serious. Remember the big cutbacks in defense? We never saw that before. Mm-hmm. I'm doing a piece tonight about cutbacks in defense, saying that we saw them for real, and those stocks are down horribly this year, despite the fact that there's been a tremendous buildup of weaponry in Ukraine. So I'm taking this a little more seriously than most, just because I remember 2011 as being a time when people just said, wow, it's not just Social Security, it's not just Medicare. Maybe it's the actual functioning of the government.
It is important to remind people that if entitlements are off the table in terms of things that are being willing to consider for cuts, and defense is also off the table, you have a very small percentage of the budget left from which you can really exact significant cuts that would make a difference. And so that perhaps makes it more difficult to reach some sort of a compromise. Again, a lot of people still believe that we're going to just get this punted to the fall, where you can at least combine the budget process and the debt ceiling, bring it to that point. At least the two sides can say, well, now we're negotiating around the same thing.
Well, that may be if you're leaving, as President Biden's leaving for a while, you may have to do that, and that puts Janet Yellen on the hot seat. But what I don't like is that if this is over our heads for a long time, then all that's going to happen is that this is what will be thought about. And I've got to tell you, if I were President Biden, I'd be very concerned, because there is an election next year.
Yeah, that's beginning already.
Right,
the campaigns.
And the early reads that I'm getting are, look out, President Biden. You may not have it locked up.
It's a long way away.
Well, I'm just saying,
so much to happen between now and then.
But this is a bad thing for a sitting president if you feel that it's going to be over.
You've made that point.
You can't do anything other than, as you said, there's no money.
Yeah.
So you just kind of have a lot of meetings about how a union president or something.